What is up, Sixers fans? We are TPL, and this is our post-game show of the Sixers versus Oklahoma City Thunder, and we are excited to be here. I'm with my boys, Dibes at Mr. Crockpot on Twitter, and the NBA beat reporter, the Sixers beat reporter of the Painted Lions, Austin Krell at NBA Krell. Go give them both a follow. The Sixers caught the dub tonight, 115-103 against Oklahoma City, and it was pretty nice. It's nice to see after a kind of stressful game to see a game that was a little bit more lax. So how you guys doing? I hope you guys like the game. Chris, let's start with you, man. How'd you feel about tonight's game?
Yeah, you talk about an Eagles game that was super, super frustrating. This was the calm, the nightcap where I can go to bed. Halfway through this game, I was making Eagles highlight reels and all that kind of stuff, and it was a comfortable win led by my man Seth Curry, who started it and ended it. He started 6 of 6 in that first quarter from 3-point range. And that dagger he had there in the fourth quarter, shushing the crowd. You got to love that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. How about you, Austin? What did you see in tonight's game that you loved?
Just an all-around efficient night for Joel. He did his usual scoring, but he had 6 assists, no turnovers, 3 blocks, 1 foul with 2 fouls. And that was 2 fouls despite a preposterous amount of rim protection that he's done through 3 games.
Definitely.
I definitely
that block on Bazley will probably be one of the best blocks of the year.
Oh my God, that's gonna be one of the best. I think that's gonna be one of the best blocks of Joel's career. I'm gonna be honest. That was such a clean early block. You don't see that a lot, especially from against a high riser like Darius Bazley.
He was getting back in transition too. He wasn't even under the basket. He was trying to backpedal in transition. And then he got back in time and then spiked him like a volleyball. It was
now. Let's be honest. Obviously, this block was a lot better than one what he had on Kemba when Kemba was in Boston. But it reminded me of that when you're saying getting back in transition and kind of turning around and going back for the ball. My God, man. The guy is just an athletic freak. Another starter I want to talk about though is not Tyrese Maxey. My goodness, Danny Green. Danny Green actually showed up today. It felt like 11 points, 8 rebounds, went 4 for 6 from the field, and went 3 for 5 from 3. And all those shots seemed like they were going right in, right? No rim at all, and it seemed like. So, what'd you think of Danny Green's game tonight, Austin?
I thought he gambled a little bit on the perimeter, and he's that's been sort of a theme of the first couple games. I mean, he gambles and he misses Giddy is catching and then he's attacking the lane and he's getting floaters. So needs to be smarter defensively. But I thought he was back on track with his shot for the most part. I think people are pretty harsh on Danny Green. I think the bigger picture is if you're relying on him to bail you out with shots in crunch time, your offense is just naturally not good enough because that's what he should be getting shots in rhythm instead of bailout shots. So I don't blame him as much as I just sort of think that that's a product of the Sixers not having a good enough offense in crunch time.
I agree, and also you got to think about the fact as well is that a lot of Danny Green's shots come in that short 7-second offense when Ben and him are running down the court in transition. At least that last year with the team, that's what you saw. So you definitely see the loss of production without Ben on the court when it comes to those transition buckets for Danny. But I do have a question for you, Austin, when it comes to defense for Danny Green. Do you think him being so aggressive out in the perimeter and overplaying the ball at times is by design to force them into Embiid?
Probably a little bit, but I also think the modern, a good modern defense is probably going to think modern guard is going to be able to put the ball on the deck and then hit floaters with a pretty high consistency. So that also is not what you want in terms just getting a guy to funnel to Embiid. The only time you really want to funnel a guy to Embiid is if you're icing on the pick and roll, and so you're forcing a guy to the baseline side, because at least then he has not only a man on his hip, but he also has the baseline that's sort of like limiting his angle as well. So
Yeah.
if Danny's gambling and it's opening up the middle of the floor where there's just sort of like there's no resistance there, it's a problem.
Gotcha. How about you, Dibs? What have you seen today out of Danny Green?
He's such an enigma. He's got a lot of heat these first 2 games of the year. I thought he did pretty well against Brandon Ingram. The first game, even though he put up a goose egg there offensively, you look at him the previous game, started off hot. I need to see more consistency. And Austin nailed it. And we talked about this before the season. Like, what made Danny Green, what made DG so valuable was him being just a complementary piece to Ben and Joel and Tobias. Now that Ben's gone, it's a little unfair to have these kind of expectations on him to really rise offensively or even defensively as this guy that's going to be, young Danny Green and way much more than what we should expect. So step in the right direction. I like that we're seeing, a little more threes from him. He was 3 of 5 from 3-point range. Up until tonight, he was 0 of 4 in the catch and shoot, just 2 games. It's very early. But this is kind of what we saw from Danny Green last year as well. Hot and cold, off and on. And
he was a lot more hot than cold last year.
I agree.
I would agree.
That was just cemented when he was out during the Atlanta Hawks series, and they missed him. They really, truly missed Danny Green's presence. So it's good to see him get back to what we expect. And, I think it all depends on your expectations. I think it was fine tonight.
I will say I think a big reason why he was able to get shots off a lot more from behind the arc tonight, at least when it came to like in rhythm shots tonight, was because just the passing. It was less stagnant tonight. The when they played Brooklyn the other day, I think they had like 17 assists, and tonight they ended with 25, which is definitely closer to the number they hit on against the Pelicans as well. So the passing around the horn you saw happen a lot more. You saw them getting the ball into the paint and then passing the ball out. I saw Tobias Harris do that a few times today, which you definitely love to see from him, getting in deep to the paint and then getting the ball back out. So I think that definitely helps out a guy like Danny Green, especially when Ben is not on the floor. So let's talk about Tyrese Maxey a little bit. I know a lot of people have high expectations of Tyrese Maxey coming into this season. Obviously, starting at the point guard spot is a big transition for a guy that's only in his second year on a championship contending team. So tonight, Tyrese had 14 points on 4 of 13 shooting, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, and a block. So what did we think about Tyrese Maxey tonight?
Go ahead, Austin.
So, I mean, I think he's going to go through lulls where he's just going to have random bad games. That's what happens when you're a second-year player. Like, you're going to hit walls sometimes. He's still finishing high off the glass, and so his angles and his feel for how to play around the rim is still pretty good, and that doesn't really leave him ever, so that's good. He was passing off open jumpers at times tonight, which I thought was a little bit of a discouraging sign, but I also think that that's something that he'll rectify when when he gets in the film room and he sort of gets comfortable out there. He's still like very dangerous off the drive. I just think, and I don't know whether this is like Doc not knowing or like him just floating into different spots because he's not sure what to do. But sometimes his spacing when the ball's in Embiid's hands is not great. Like he'll just sort of like end up in the dunker spot for no reason. And those are the times when you really miss Ben, because Ben at least is going to like slap the ball. He could get up there and he's going to grab offensive rebounds, or he's going to slap the ball out and whoever's out in the perimeter is going to retrieve it and reinitiate the offense. With Maxey, it's like one and done.
Yeah, I think you've seen kind of the good and bad of Maxey. And by bad, I mean, like, this is a young kid that's going to have to find his way with Joel Embiid, with Seth Curry, with Tobias Harris. And it's going to take time. It wasn't his best game. He had, 14 points. But I think there are certainly flashes, especially in the pick and roll, where he's actually making progress this year. So you're going to have – this is just the reality of having – a young guard lead your offense like Tyrese Maxey, you're going to have to take the good with the bad. And it's not been bad by any means. He's putting up, he's doing fine. But I have no issues like Austin said. It's just the ebb and flow of the NBA season. I think everything revolves around him in that pick and roll, and I do like the positive signs I'm seeing with Joel Embiid in that pick and pop, in that pick and roll so far.
Yeah, I think something else that's definitely a good sign is seeing that 7 free throws tonight that he got, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, and
that's good. I do like that's a big one. Yep.
Yeah, the fact that he's able to put that kind of pressure on the basket, playing with Joel Embiid in the starting lineup and getting fouled, and also converting is huge. I think everyone knows this. But as his career goes on, there's a very good possibility that Tyrese is going to upgrade and propel himself a little bit higher in that perimeter game. I think that's going to come. But if he can just do well around the basket and then when he's fouled, make those free throws, that's going to be huge for him.
Yeah, I mean, like Maxey tonight, 7 free throws, 13 field goal attempts. That's a free throw rate of like almost 50, like better than 50%. Obviously, small sample size, but like you get him to 30% or like better. It's really what you want.
He was really low last year. It was like 2 free throw attempts a game. Like it was not. He was not getting to the rim. So
he also played with a very different.
Yeah, there were times last year where he got mauled and there was contact and they just didn't call it. But yes, your point stands. Yes, correct.
So obviously that's Maxey for this game. Let's move on to some of the bench guys. Georges Niang definitely had an off game against the Nets last game, but definitely picked up that slack today, going 4 for 8, 3 for 4 from the 3-point line, 12 points. Man, it is a blessing to have someone who can shoot off the bench. So Dibes, what do you think about Georges Niang today?
That spin move he had there in that first half where he was on the baseline and spun and got the N1, man. Woo! That was awesome. But yeah, I keep going back to that Furkan Niang combination. Furkan had I don't want to. When I think of Georges Niang and I think of Furkan Korkmaz, it's like a 1-2 package. They go together off the bench, and I thought those two looked somewhat pretty good, even though Korkmaz got his lunch taken away from him by Lou Dort there on one play.
Listen, there's a lot of players in the NBA that are starting caliber players that can get their lunch from Lou Dort.
Yeah, but I mean, Georges Niang is you talk about that upgrade from Mike Scott, having a guy that can hit corner threes. I think he had a really big 3 there on an assist from Joel Embiid in that fourth quarter, where the bench really did well. The middle of the fourth quarter was a little muddy, but to start the fourth quarter, he was a big part of that 11-0 run that got the Sixers a giant lead, like an 18-point lead there. It was Furkan, it was Georges Niang. Who am I missing? I'm probably missing Paul Reed. I think had a block and a cleanup on the glass. There were massive, monumental plays here. Especially considering that the Thunder made a run here in that middle of the fourth quarter. So love what I'm seeing from Niang.
Agreed. Austin, what do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so Doc tried to go small with him at 5 a little bit in the first quarter, and they started just hemorrhaging points at the rim. And that's something that's going to be a problem regardless of who they play because it's just such a blatant weakness. I mean, Niang's not athletic vertically. And he's not agile either, so it isn't like he can really like push guys off the dribble and get to the rim. He also can't really shift his hips and change directions and defend the rim either if guys making quick passes and dump offs. So he's going to be challenged a lot at the rim, and they're going to lose a lot of points at the rim. But that's if Doc knows not to do that unless the other team goes small, like the Clippers go small. I think he can be effective. I think his offensive game is really, really much more consistent than Mike Scott's is, and I think that's really kind of what you need from him in that role.
Definitely. I said it beginning of the season, or I guess it still is the beginning of the season, but I said it in the first game. Having a guy like that you can, when the ball gets around the horn, that can consistently make that 3-point shot is going to be key, not only for the bench unit, but for the starting unit at the power forward spot. So you definitely love to see him connecting. So I do want to talk about this. I was going to bring this up, but Awesome Wells, thank you for the comment. Thybulle got burned by SGA for a dunk, then makes a three, but his offense is stagnant as far as evolution. He might be unplayable in the end of the fourth. Now, obviously that comment is what it is, but I want to definitely get into the Thybulle conversation. Obviously, had a pretty decent game, had some lulls offensively, but I think we all expect that at times. But what I really want to talk about is SGA against Thybulle. Now, Thybulle, known for deflections, known for steals, not necessarily on-ball defense, but he definitely got himself cooked by SGA a few times. So, Austin, what do you think about Thybulle, and do you just think it was just a weird matchup for him there, or do you think that could be a consistent problem against a bigger guard like that?
No, I think he's just generally a very good team defender, and he's not gonna. I don't think he puts himself in strong positioning to ever be a really good individual defender because he overplays, he gambles sometimes, he gets it to the outer hip instead of the inner hip sometimes, and so guys are able to get to the rim a little better. And so I think you have to have a conversation as a front office, do we really want to give this guy a contract extension? Because he's going to be up for one, next offseason, I think, or following offseason.
That is a big thing to say for a guy. A lot of fans love Matisse Thybulle. He's one of the listen.
On a team with no shot creators, though, that is a real thing.
Oh, yeah. for sure.
Yeah,
but I'm talking purely fan base attraction. He is a guy that, also, although his skill set is very niche, he is a guy that I think it would be hard for the Sixers not to get back just because of how Sixers signed back Mike Scott for 2 years, $10 million.
That's a different context, though. It's irrelevant at this point. He doesn't fit with Embiid because you need shooters around Embiid. Yeah. He's not good enough offensive. He doesn't really do enough offensively at all to play next to Embiid and have it be a good product, really.
Yeah.
And then also, your second unit doesn't really have any shot creating either, so you need offense in that second unit. And he doesn't do anything other than make a three every third game. And maybe
listen, I don't disagree with you offensively wise. I still think he could be a good guy off your bench personally.
I just don't think he engulfs you the way that he would need, that you need a bona fide number one defender to engulf an opponent in order for it to outweigh the offensive shortcomings.
Do you think that's something that could grow? Do you think that that's something that could develop and he could grow into maybe once he gets some more weight on him, or if he sees more defenders and figures out tendencies more? Because we saw Ben Simmons go from being a guy who, and mind you, very different players, obviously, but you did see upgrades through the seasons where Ben Simmons got better at defending guys. Do you think that Thybulle could also be something like that? Once he learns tendencies a bit more, if he puts on a little bit more weight, that he could be a little bit better at engulfing defenders like we see out of men like Ben Simmons?
I just think if the biggest knock against Ben Simmons is he hasn't developed enough through 5 NBA seasons.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you why is the conversation around
we are specifically talking about the defensive end, because I think you can make a very, very good argument that although Ben Simmons didn't upgrade offensively and develop offensively, I think he definitely developed defensively from his rookie season to this season.
I mean, sure.
Maybe that's more of an effort thing. I don't know. But
here's the thing. I mean, yes, there's certainly room for him to grow, and yes, he very well might grow. But you have to commit money to him soon, and if you're paying him for if he doesn't grow, that's not a good enough product to have significant cap space locked up in. Now, some might argue, well, you pay for what the guy did before the contract, not for what you expect him to do in the future. That's fair. Maybe he's willing to take a lesser deal, but contracts are pretty inflated nowadays. So
definitely,
we'll see.
How about you, Dibs? Do you have any points or things you think about Matisse Thybulle?
This is coming from someone who loves Matisse Thybulle. He was like my legit favorite prospect in the draft, and the Sixers took him, and I was happy. I was ecstatic, knowing how much value.
You didn't want Carson Edwards?
No, I was good. I was good with Matisse. I mean, I remember it, but I was not like angry like the majority of social media was that we didn't get Carson.
Oh my god.
But anyway, here's my take. My take is knowing how valuable Matisse is across the league and knowing how desperate the Sixers are right now for a point guard, for someone that can step in, create shots, do some playmaking offensively. If there's a trade that is out there and it includes throwing in Matisse Thybulle to get it done, 100% do that.
What's hilarious is that literally that was like a piece that we didn't want to go in the Harden deal or the Kyle Lowry deal. That was a guy that people were having a fit that if he was put involved in a trade, they didn't want it to happen. So now in the third game of this next season, we're saying that. So
a lot of change, man.
Yeah, that's just crazy to think about. But anyway, let's talk more about this game in general. So, what do you guys have any top takeaways from this game before we go into players of the game?
How do you not lead off with Seth freaking Curry? Mm-hmm. Seth Curry is absolutely on fire. He's hitting over 70+% of his 3-pointers this season. 13 of 17 from 3-point range this season. If you go back to last year, last 11 games, the dude is hitting. Let me get the stats real quick. It is like beyond hilarious. 7 of 10 tonight. It is 47 of 75, over 62% from 3 over those last 11 games with the Sixers. How do you not begin and end with Seth Curry this season? Last season, is Doc Rivers relying on him too much? Is blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. The dude does not miss. It's kind of scary to think where the Sixers would be without Seth Curry. Seth Curry.
No, I completely agree, and what's insane, and I think Allah has said this a lot on the broadcast, but the man just doesn't even hit rim.
No, man.
Like it's just all cotton.
Right. It's like if in that first quarter, like I wish I could just like take all those highlights. I think I'm going to do that. I am going to do this. I'm going to take all the highlights from Seth Curry in the first quarter, and I'm going to throw it to NBA Jam and have the NBA commentators goes, he's on fire, and I'll put a graphic with the ball and the rim blowing up in flames, because that's what it was. That's what it felt like watching tonight.
To put it in perspective, Seth Curry right now, his effective field goal percentage this season,
oh god,
is 94.1.
No, that's crazy. I mean, that's man, what an amazing trade that was for Josh.
Let's put that into perspective, man. We traded, like the Sixers traded away Josh Richardson and got Seth Curry. That is a ridiculous upgrade of a player.
Unbelievable.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. Technically, the Sixers traded Jimmy Butler for Seth Curry. What do you think about that? If you really think about it, that's exactly.
Jimmy would look pretty nice on this team, right, Austin?
Oh, for sure.
Actually, I don't know.
Really?
I mean, I would love a shot creator like Jimmy on this team.
The theory of Jimmy Butler, yes, right, but
yeah, is the actual Jimmy Butler.
Like, first of all, if we're so he just signed his.
Yeah, true.
He just signed like his deal that's going to put him in Miami until 36, and from what I've seen so far, that jump shot has really fallen off the map. And Heat fans are going to say like, Ben Simmons, like, okay, but no one's saying that Ben Simmons is a great shot creator, but like Jimmy, you would have been paying like 50 something million to at age 36, and I don't know about that one.
Right.
Listen, I don't disagree. But so do you have any, Austin, other like big takeaways to come from this game?
Yeah, I think they have a lot of problems that losses or that wins are going to it's kind of like the wins are going to sort of let you push those concerns back a little bit until they lose games. But let me tell you, like, there are a lot of concerns. Number one, don't know why Joel has to make like multiple bodies sacrificing plays in the third game of the year. Like, I get it. He's competitive, wants to win. Yeah. There's no reason to go jumping into the first row of the stands to try to save a ball in the first play of the game. There's no reason to go in that hard against Josh Giddey. There's no reason to sacrifice his by the way, with knee soreness that he has, there's no reason to do that. You pick your time and place to do that. Number two, the Thunder suck. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, despite the Thunder sucking, was dominant tonight. They're going to struggle so much with against teams with lead guards.
100%.
And here's the amazing thing that they are before Ben Simmons wasn't on the team, or at least wasn't with the team anymore. They already struggled with lead guards.
Yeah.
So and now you're missing the second best defender in the league according to last year's voting, which is just insane to think about.
Yeah, I mean, like look, they're gonna like. There's the spacing in Oklahoma City is not good. He doesn't have secondary, tertiary teammates to make the Sixers really work. What happens when you play Golden State? What happens when you play Portland? What happens when you play Washington? They're going to get obliterated by those teams because not only do they have the pieces to create spacing for that guard to operate, or that wing to operate, but they also have respectable pieces that can burn you themselves. So they have a finite number of solutions to an infinite number of problems. And you can hate Ben as much as you want. You really feel how impactful he is when you see, a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just carve you up. Like
Definitely. So overall, with those thoughts, what would you grade this game in general, Austin?
B-, I guess.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair. Chris, how about you?
I'm going to go a B. I'll go up a little bit from Austin just for the fact that the Atlanta Falcons beat the Miami Dolphins. Then you had the high, then you had the low with the Eagles game, and now I can go to bed on a Sunday night and get ready for work tomorrow morning and be somewhat okay with this win. Like Austin said, there are concerns. There are real concerns about the future of this ball club. Regardless, Seth Curry is real. Joel Embiid is real. And we'll just ride those two, I guess, into the sunset.
Yeah, who would have thought that we'd be saying at the beginning of the 2021 season that we'd be riding the coattails of Joel Embiid and Seth Curry? I don't think anybody would be saying that would be the two best players in your team, at least as of right now, offensively.
Tobias had a good game. I want to take it back. Tobias did have he had a really good, strong game, the night before as well. Tobias had 14 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. Not the best scoring output, but there were definite moments where Tobias, especially in the fourth quarter, hit back-to-back buckets to stop the bleeding when the Thunder were on the run. So props to, again, Tobias Harris, who stood up when the going got tough. And he did that all last regular season. Didn't necessarily happen that much in the playoffs, but Tobias, again, had a couple of big moments tonight.
Also, a couple more Seth stats via Jackson Frank here. Okay. 68.8% from the field through 3 games. That's 22 of 32.
He's probably up there in field goal percentages with some centers.
For sure. From 3, he is 76.5%. 13 of 17 from 3 through 3 games.
Oh my God. That's insane.
I bet his true shooting percentage is like over 100. Like
88%.
Is it 88?
Yes.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We need to talk about that more because this is unprecedented. This is unbelievable.
And can we get into the conversation where a lot of people going into the Sixers getting Seth Curry were comparing him to JJ Redick and having him at the shooting guard, but let's be honest here. This man is like a lot more efficient than JJ was when he was with this team. Now, the shooting gravity of running around the screens and everything like that definitely isn't there as much, but the catch and shoot and off the dribble around picks kind of numbers are insane when it comes to the efficiency.
He impacts the game so much better than JJ. Like, there was a play tonight where Seth Curry stole the ball, moved the ball up the court, and then Matisse made a nice pass to Joel Embiid cutting to the basket. Like, he does those things, whether it's a nice pass at the rim to someone cutting or something along those lines. He does so much more to impact the game. Seth is like one of those guys that, like, 20 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, man, that guy was good.
Definitely. So, guys, let's wrap this up. Sixers obviously got a great win. Love to see you get a win, no matter how ugly it is, how good it is. So, Sixers get a win. So, where can we find y'all? Chris, we'll start out with you. Where can we find you?
Oh, man, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Me and Tiago will be doing Morning Cup of Joe tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. So, guys, if you're going to be up then, put us on. We're going to be breaking down tonight's win. I've got an interview with Kai Carlin talking a lot about the hate that Doc Rivers the last like 48 hours have not been too kind on Doc Rivers, and we broke it down. And then we also talked about a lot of other things, and we'll break down my favorite plays of this game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So make sure you check that out.
Definitely go check out Cup of Joe. Great podcast with him and Tiago. How about you, Austin? Where can we find you?
Find me on Twitter at NBA Curl. I also cover the Sixers daily for the Painted Lions, so you can always read my stuff there.
Nice. Definitely so a good Twitter follow. He's connected. He is connected, people.
Wait. I like your blue coat shit, man. You're doing a lot of work on the blue coats right now, man. You're balling.
Yeah. I interviewed Prosper Karangwa, the GM of the Blue Coats. It was his first interview as GM, and I landed the exclusive, so it was pretty nice. And just grinding, usual. So,
that was a good interview too. It was a great interview.
NBD Austin is what I'm going to be calling you. No big deal.
No big deal.
It isn't. Just another guy doing a job,
Austin Inside was screaming. But
no
definitely go check out that recent article.
just keep the head down and work. That's all you got to do.
Keep the phone in your pocket, Austin.
That's right. That's right. No, that's right. No selfies.
I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. Oh my god. Right, so yes, definitely go follow Austin on Twitter. Go follow Dibes on Twitter, and if you'd like, you can follow me as well at J_Persichetti. I think the Blue Coach training camp starts next week, so I'm hoping to get down there and say hi to some players, get some interviews going, get some questions asked. So definitely go follow me on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with guys like Jaden Springer and all the rest of the Blue Coats. So it's nice seeing y'all. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see y'all next time.